Ready, aim, release! Anyone see my mammoth? Ah, it's Carlo!
Yo!
Lies, he's not here. No, we are back. It is indeed Carlo. He is indeed here. Look, he's still got his really angry face. It's totally just his face all the time now. No.
Yep.
He's totally back. He's finally here. I have someone to talk to rant at on a Monday. My life has been made infinitely better, as has everybody here. How you doing, buddy?
As has Tourney ground, obviously. It was rough times. Rough times, Mickey flying solo.
Yeah. That's a hire in Australian. And that's how bad it got. Go on then. How you doing?
Decent. Yeah, good. It's actually really good to be back. Funnily, so I was away for quite a while, in case you didn't notice.
No one did.
I actually found it kind of it took me a while to like switch off because I'm boring as fuck, right? Like I actually only like A Song of Ice and Fire. It turns out that I like A Song of Ice and Fire and long walks in the country. And I spend most of my long walks in the country thinking about A Song of Ice and Fire. So, there isn't much else going on. I found I found that I got into a few arguments. Shall we? A few arguments online while I was away, just because I was kind of bored and looking for something to talk about or do. And interestingly, like I spent a decent amount of the time while I was away thinking that I might stop doing Tourney ground, that I might like stop making content because basically I got into these arguments online with people. And really, it's arguments plural, which is when you know that like you're the problem, not the other person that you're arguing with. But it felt a lot to me like people acted like I'd said something offensive before I even said something offensive.
Mhm.
And I was kind of thinking about the fact that, like, to me, that's because I've said so many offensive things in the past. Like, I will, I have offended. I joke about myself. I joke about Mickey a lot. I joke about events that people have been to. I talk about people. I make fun of people, events, Simon, the game designers, everything about this game. I make fun of because like it's kind of, to me, the game is quite funny that I, as a competitive player, like it's such a small community, right? Like it's almost embarrassingly small that we care so much about the game. So if you can't laugh at it, then I don't really know what you can do. So I kind of came to this conclusion. I was like, maybe I should stop making content because like I only made content to like help spread A Song of Ice and Fire stats. And actually the first content, all the first videos that I made were just teaching people how to use A Song of Ice and Fire stats. And I kind of realized that like if I'm getting to the point where I can't even say stuff without it just like becoming an instant argument because of all the things that I've said in the past, then maybe it's time to stop. And then I realized and remembered I don't really care what people think of me.
Freaking classic.
And more importantly, I don't need to post on Discord because that, or Facebook. I quit posting on Facebook forever ago. I don't really need to post on Discord. That's what Mickey's for. If you ever wonder why Mickey does all the posts, it's because all of my posts turn into arguments. So
mine do now as well. So
I'm still here, and I'll still keep chatting shit about the community, the game, myself, and Mickey mostly. And that's not going to stop because I quite enjoy it, and I think some people enjoy it. At least, if you don't enjoy it, then you don't have to come to Tourney ground.
Yeah.
But back on a bit of a Discord hiatus. If you wanna chat to me on Discord, you probably need to tag me because I'm back to lurking and not putting my nose in where it's not wanted. like I say, that's not anybody specific because I had multiple arguments with people without even trying to. I wasn't actually looking for a fight. I was mostly just trying to have a discussion with people. But that's the way these things go.
It is. It is. Sometimes they just gravitate. Anyway, according to Carlo, that's that's why he's back anyways, because he actually enjoys it apparently. But we're also joined with today, after all that, by Carlo, by a special guest. I say a special guest. He's not special. He is special, but for different reasons. It's Chris Eustace, friend of ours, obviously organising the LGT. How you doing, Chris?
Hello, friends. Have you brought me on to give my opinion if Carlo should quit making content?
Yeah,
the answer
absolutely.
is yeah.
Don't give me that answer because like I don't want to find out your real thoughts on it.
All right.
I'm
Fair enough, yeah.
fairly convinced Chris just wants you to quit altogether, right?
Yeah. Then he can finally be, like one of the best players in the UK instead of, always being in my shadow.
I've retired. That I don't even pretend anymore, mate. I proper suck now. I used to be all right.
This is one of those bad arguments that Carlo got into and has now just managed to argue his opponent into defeat. Clearly.
I win.
Right, we are approximately T minus 4 days, I guess you'd call it now, away from the LGT. The ELO event obviously running on the Friday as well. Are you ready, Chris?
No, not really. I've got a mate doing a massive print job for me to get all the printers done. I might be driving to an Asmodee warehouse somewhere to pick up some stuff. Not really ready, but we will be ready. We'll definitely get there. It will be all right on the night, probably. Is the answer to that? But no, look, it'll be good, and I think that the work that I put in, Carlo's put in, Daryl and Scott, the NRG guys, have all put in. I think it's going to make this last week a lot easier, and it's going to pay dividends on the weekend, I feel. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Definitely true that a lot of the work's already been done. It's just a case of actually just following through now on the plans, right? So
yeah, hoping that the environmentalist, the guys, don't shut the M25 down. Yeah, other than that,
don't remind me. Don't remind. Cool. So, I mean, there's a couple of things we wanted to talk about in relation to the LGT. A couple of things that we obviously want to kind of get through, talk about, discuss in relation to not just the LGT for the Song Ice and Fire, but also some of the stuff that's going on with the LGT as well. Don't worry, this isn't just an LGT stream, guys. We are going to be throwing Chris under the bus at one point, telling him to fuck off, and so we can talk about the real meat and potatoes of Tourney ground that you all love and hate. So, I guess the first thing is, can you believe it? All of this year, over a year of posting on Facebook, over a year of putting things together for stats, for videos, things like this. Can you believe the most liked thing I've ever posted on Facebook? Ever posted, the most liked thing is this absolute bad boy that we've got coming up here. Can you believe that this is the most liked thing I've ever put on Facebook?
I can believe. People love trophies.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they're pretty badass trophies. I'm really happy with how they come out.
Yeah. Chris, you obviously you were kind of like talked to Daryl a lot about this, and you obviously got it all sorted. Are you happy with them?
Can't see the screen. I'm guessing the swords are up on my bedsheet.
Technical wizardry. Technical wizardry.
Yeah, in that case, yeah. Okay, now I can see it now. Yeah, look, they're really, really nice, aren't they? I can't be mad at these at all. I think they're I think as Simon have done such a great job promising such a large amount of stock, any extra money, any of the prize pool money we spent on stock would have just been a drop in the ocean and a waste. Whereas these are they're quite large, but I think they'll be really nice. Really nice trophies that people will be proud to have and be keen to show off to their nerdy mates. So Yeah, I think they're quality. And I look forward
Or for
to
somebody
giving them
like you, Chris, to hide and not admit that you're a nerd, right?
out. No, this is the last offence. If someone catches me with a Space Marine, I can just pull this out and smack them around the head.
Can I just have mad respect for this photo as well? Anyone see the subtlety of this photo? There's not just some swords here. Anyone else notice the A Song of Ice and Fire subtlety?
with the main attribute being Lannisters, of course. He's managed to cover up most others, but Lannisters are still there strong in the background.
Yeah, he's got a Song of Ice and Fire blanket, which pretty sure if Chris is trying to hide his geeky nerdy side, failure.
I'm glad my 3 years marketing degree has finally paid off. So, works out well.
That is well spent time. Okay, so we'll go through lists and things as we go. As far as I'm aware, Chris has been doing some brilliant work over the next 5 minutes, pressing some buttons to make the lists work, and the round should be going live very soon.
No, I've not actually done that. I'll do it now.
we'll get onto that in a second then.
All right, I'll press it now. Honed and ready. Work Club Parents.
Yeah. There you go. We'll have a look at those in a minute.
If you're listening, they should be live.
Yes, so there you go. You can go look at pairings if you're listening, but of course you're not going to look at pairings because you're going to look at pairings with us in about 3 minutes. I want to show this next image. This is the next image I just wanted to show up. This is an image of the LGT hall. Those of you are coming along. This purple band here is A Song of Ice and Fire. This purple bit is us up here, and I was actually really pleasantly surprised. It is no surprise to anybody that if I told you what the red was 40k, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. The blue on the far right-hand side up here as well is Age of Sigmar. Again, another Games Workshop license you expect it to be big. I was actually mildly impressed that down in one of the gallery rooms, the mezzanine, there was a lot of black tables, which is for historical wargaming, British historical wargaming, which... thumbs up for that. Love a bit of historical wargaming. But aside from those, we actually have the most space outside of Games Workshop and historicals. Biggest event there outside of Games Workshop stuff. So I'm pretty happy. That's pretty good.
I think it's just worth mentioning here that the only 2 games we are behind in terms of tickets sold are Games Workshop games. So it's Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar. There's no way, as much as I would love for this to be the case, there is no way that A Song of Ice and Fire is the 3rd biggest game in the UK. No chance in hell.
There's definitely no chance. But it is
so
still great.
I think we've done, pat ourselves on the back, maybe a bit of a twatish move, but I think we can be happy with the result ultimately. And yeah, I think it would be a good event, a good foundation for the competitive scene in the UK to build upon, hopefully.
I just like the fact that we're marginally bigger than Horus Heresy, so fuck them.
Yeah, bigger than some Games Workshop ones. We'll get onto like the first round pairing and stuff, but we've managed to make it to 50. We obviously sold 64 tickets. We got to 50, which I'm pretty happy with. I think Chris is too. There is a huge amount of uncertainty. I had always expected we would get something in the region of 10 to 20% of players dropping out. We moved on as many tickets as we could, but there's been some difficulties from people traveling abroad in just the last couple of weeks. We lost some more people. We lost the guys from Netherlands as the rules changed around how long that they would have to isolate and stuff like that.
Literally
Isolation effectively
weekend, right?
came back in.
Literally this weekend,
exactly.
So
I'm really glad that we got to that 50. It's nice. It's a nice number. I don't think we would really have expected much more in the current climate based on the 64 tickets that we managed to get to sell. And I think it's really just going to be a very, very good event, a very good celebration of the UK scene with also a few people coming from abroad who absolutely people should watch out for because there's some pretty strong names coming in there.
Chris, your thoughts on that?
No, I totally agree. I think and again, not to sound too twattish, but I think we've just put on a compelling event, right? I think that we were really fortunate in some aspects. Duncan Rhodes being a great big fan of the game and him, agreeing to do the painting competitions, I think is amazing. And I think that we set out, and again, this is going to sound super twattish, but we set out a mission from the beginning to make it a great gaming event, a community event, and a hobby event. And I think we've stuck to our guns and really put something together. Which, if you're a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire in the UK and you can make the weekend, I think you're mad if you don't come, because I genuinely think it's going to be a great 2 days. So personally, super happy. Would have liked to have got the full 64, but obviously at the moment it's completely understandable that people have had to waylay. And of course, it's all just about building for the future. So hopefully the Grand Tournament 2022, if someone runs it, will be even bigger and better.
Yeah, definitely. Before we do move on to pairings, one last thing I wanted to get through, which is the faction breakdowns. So we talked about this briefly. We put posts up about it. We saw this breakdown come out, and this did actually spark a debate as well among some players. But yeah, we see a very even split. 14% Night's Watch Free Folk Barra. These, because of 50 players, of course, you just half the number to get the actual numbers. So 7 of each of those in the tournament. Targs at 9 players. Starks at 5. Greyjoys at 2. Lannisters at 12. Neutrals at 1. I mean, first of all, every faction represented. Just. Actually, it's
and
only
neutrals
Greyjoys.
are there.
Yeah, and neutrals. Yeah, the not faction.
Yeah. The 7 factions plus neutrals are represented.
I'm slightly surprised. I think I'm surprised because we've got less Baratheons than I thought there'd be. Actually, of all things, maybe a lot of dropouts.
I would say Baratheons are down on where you might expect them, and Free Folk are up on where you might expect them. Traditionally, Baratheons have been super popular, and Free Folk not so much. Neither of those decisions have ever historically been based on power level, whether or not people think that they're going to win the event with them, whether or not they're playing for the number 1 spot. And Free Folk in general have always been not that highly picked. So those two are surprising. I'm not at all surprised by the huge Lannister entry. Lannisters have always been super popular in the UK scene, even back when Starks were supposedly dominating the game. As I say supposedly, they were online, but even in UK tournaments, that's not what we saw, because a huge proportion, particularly of the really strong players in the UK, all gravitated towards the Lannisters and their control style. And so Lannisters being super popular is not surprising at all.
You're in there saying you lost a Baratheon, Night's Watch, and neutral player from the Rotterdam White Scars, which, as we said, is a massive shame. And we don't blame you at all. Like, it's an absolute nightmare. As much as I appreciate some of the international players we've got coming across, and I, honestly really do appreciate them making the trip. If I was telling someone from like anywhere internationally, come to the GT, I couldn't do it, like, honestly, with any real kind of like hope, because it's an absolute nightmare. So I do understand. I really do understand. Yeah, Chris, I mean, you're a Lannister main, just like Carlo, and as we know from previous tournaments, you've won tournaments with Lannisters, including beating Carlo at tournaments with Lannisters. How are you feeling about that big Lannister entry?
Beating Carlo was the biggest day of his life. For me, it was just Tuesday, to paraphrase M. Bison. Look, yeah, it's. I think there's a lot to talk about here, like this breakdown. Like, it's obviously great to see Lannisters. I think, obviously, as it's worth putting in mind in all the communications we've put out with this, we have done a best in faction for every faction, so as an attempt to encourage some diversity, and I think that this pie chart kind of reflects that decision, which is great to see. Greyjoys are obviously really hurt by our other main decision regarding lists, which is that we're only allowing UK release. So Greyjoys obviously got bolstered a little bit towards the end with the Ironmaker release, but I think this 4%, so only 2 players, really kind of reflects that they don't have the hero box and they don't have the trappers. A much lesser extent, the trappers. But I think 2 interesting takeaways. If you just take that out of the equation, the faction next hurt the most, I think, with that ruling is probably Lannisters. So they don't get the Red Cloaks, they don't get Maim Jaime, who's also pretty decent this time round, and they don't get the Mountain That Rides. And the Mountain That Rides is probably not as much of an auto include this edition with the inclusion of the Poor Fellows, but they're certainly the faction I think that's been hurt the most by that decision, apart from Greyjoys. And the other just interesting takeaway is that with the Baratheons, out of the 14 Baratheon lists, so 7 players, 2 lists each, only 3 are Stannis side. And they obviously got the inclusion of the Lightbringers and the Queensmen late last minute with those last few boxes. So if the Greyjoys percentage was a bit higher, I don't think you'd even necessarily know that we weren't allowing things that weren't inside the UK just looking at this. And the Lannister number especially, as I say, I think they're kind of the second the faction that gets hit the most from it. So yeah, super interesting to see. I'm happy with the breakdown. Would love to have seen more Greyjoys, but completely understandable based on the UK release.
I have to admit,
it is super interesting that people are still very, very happy to play and run those Lannisters despite not having access to Red Cloaks specifically. There's been huge amounts of discussion ever since Red Cloaks were first revealed that like they were going to be defining. I mean, like we said that they were going to be so defining of the faction. And oddly enough, I think it's one of the few things that like really just didn't pan out the way I thought they would, which is that as things are right now in the Lannisters, you are so heavily invested in trying to beat Night's Watch with one specific build and beat Targaryens with another specific build, neither of which really include Red Cloaks. You just don't have room for this unit, which is amazingly powerful. Like it's not wrong that this unit is so powerful, but you just don't have room for it in the 2-list format right now. So, you know, like I think that actually Lancers are pretty competitive. I think Maim Jaime, myself having run him, I think Maim Jaime is the biggest pain point for them actually, in terms of being able to field their most competitive lists that can really take on like the game, the meta defining stuff.
It is interesting mentioning obviously the Red Cloaks and their impact on the meta, and you are right, of course. And it is exactly that. You know, there are meta kind of semi-meta builds that build around Red Cloaks trying to kill conscripts and things like this, and there are things that semi-work in these aggressive lists. The problem is that aggressive playstyle just doesn't pan out well enough for Lannisters enough. It just doesn't often win games against them. It's not a viable, reliable strategy. So you're right, they just get beaten out by stuff that just doesn't die in this kind of like, I'm not going to die meta of Lannisters in the way they have to play. And the aggressive style lists they have to take into something like Mother Dragons or Targaryens want stuff that's going to be pain in the arse to remove, but is also maneuverable. So things like Flayed Men and Hedge Knights just make the cut instead. So
I think, I mean, it's a bit off topic, but I don't think Lannisters have really come out the way anyone was expecting in the preview. Like, remember how like mental people were going over Lannister supremacy, and you just don't really see it. Don't really see it.
Turns out
but
if you
anyway,
don't attack something, doesn't matter.
I guess the one other takeaway I would just say from this is I have reviewed every list, and Hedge Knights seem to be quite popular, which seems to be the last big change based on the last minute of inclusion of those last 5 boxes. But yeah, super happy with it overall. Wish the Greyjoy stuff was out, but unfortunately it's not.
It won't be a huge reveal for me to say that on the Friday event. Hello. Who's got Vlad? It won't be a huge reveal for me to say that in the ELO event on Friday, I'll be playing Baratheons. Now, in that last set of releases, we got Lightbringers, Queen's Men, and we got Hedge Knights. Intending to play Baratheons, the only thing that I cared about was that Hedge Knights had come out. That's the thing that made me go and change my lists, not the Queen's Men or the Lightbringers. So, like, it's interesting, and I'm very glad. I really do wish that we've been able to say everything up until Q2 has been released, but almost by the same mentality, it'd be like, well, basically everything from Q3 is released too, right? Like, it is. I have it right here next to my desk. I'm pretty sure Mickey's got it next to his desk.
Yep.
But that's not fair event for everybody. And when you understand like how crazy it would be for some people to have never been able to see these units, never be able to play against these units, and have no practice against them, you start to understand like the decision more around, we play what's released, we play what people have had a chance and a fair, even chance to gain access to, bring to the tournament, and hopefully even have some practice with and against before the event kind of came along.
That was actually my biggest concern, that something would drop the week before the event, and it hasn't been too far off. It was like 2 weeks before, right, that all these units dropped. And that was much more of an issue than the Q2 stuff, I think. So, but you have to be even-handed with these things, and the even-handed approach is to say, unless there's been a full UK release, then it's not viable, and that's ultimately, it just makes it easier to stand your ground on it, which we've been able to do.
To answer Bruce, yes, all 7 units of my Hedge Knights are painted, aka my Baratheon army.
2 lists. So, right then, should we have a look at the pairings? We've already kind of had one spoiled. So, some of these people we won't know as well as others, so forgive us if you're watching this back later on thinking, why didn't they talk about my lists? Why didn't they talk about me in my game? And that's not to say you're a bad player or anything like that, but unfortunately, for example, Matthew here, I have no idea who Matthew is. He could be the most amazing player who's ever played the game. He could be utter trash. I don't know. I will comment on all of them. We will go through all of them.
Let's find out.
Exactly. Let's find out. That's what it's all for. So we see table 1. And you will notice that the table, it's kind of like you're randomly assigned a seed in the event. So you can kind of work out, basically, it would have paired number 1 with number 26, right? Essentially. And it would have randomly seeded you when you entered the event. So you could have potentially worked out your opponent before today if you were really, really clever. But it also does other fancy stuff.
Because of the avoid club pairings part, it was almost impossible, because it will have moved people around to make sure that people from the same club aren't playing each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could have had a guess, but there's no way you would have actually known for certain. So we see Connor Kerr up against Dean Rothwell. That's one of your guys from Steadfast, right, Chris?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of people here with the club affiliation Steadfast, and what kind of happened was there's a core group of like 3 or 4 guys that always use that tag. And then one guy who was also coming knew one of the guys, so he used Steadfast, but then he knew someone and he used Steadfast. And so there's about 8 Steadfast players. I don't think many of them have ever met. But
they're all just trying not to pair up against Tom Tyler, and
I think it's worth the risk to hopefully get Mahoney, because he's so bad at the minute. I would have jumped on that.
Take Mahoney out in the first round before he practices and gets good at the game again.
Yeah. We also see Connor Kerr is up there as well. Connor is from Common Ground Games. We've met Connor, Carlo. You've met him a couple times now, I think. One of the Scottish guys. Really lovely guy. Loves his Brendan Tully. He ran Brendan Tully last year when we played him in the event there. Loves his Brendan and Starks. So yeah, I hope that goes really well for Connor.
He also won the Greyjoy start set when we did the prize draw all the way back in March or April or whenever it was.
I was just gonna say, he's pretty into Greyjoys, so I guess I'm glad he's playing Starks, because Starks are actually also relatively underrepresented. But I was slightly disappointed not to see him, bring Greyjoys, bring that Greyjoy numbers up to 3 entrants. But it's very understandable without access to the whole faction.
Definitely. Game number 2, we see Mathieu Berthet. I have I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, Matthew. Versus Ben.
Please stop.
Ben is a player who started recently. He's actually a really experienced player of other games. He's actually worked in the gaming industry, and we met him like a couple of weeks ago. I think our friends Daryl and Scott met him, and he very quickly just like bought straight in patron. Really, really nice guy. I met him a couple of times down at our club. And he's running his Targaryens. He picked them up because he likes them. He's not a power gamer. He picked them up because he liked how cool they were. Then he found out how good they were and felt guilty. I said to him,
That's what they all say.
yeah, don't worry. Bellagroth Connor is in chat. He couldn't make 2 40-point lists without the extra stuff.
Oh, that's
Savage.
Yeah, I
Just
hadn't even
said,
thought about that.
I've got 2 units of Iron Makers that I could have brought down for you. So yeah, they randomly appeared.
You could have had an Iron Maker spam. Great. In both lists.
And I got a second starter as well. You could have borrowed. Anyway, yeah. So
I saw Ben's list, and I remember you saying he was new. And I thought, as soon as I saw those lists, he could only be a new player at Carlo and Mickey's club. If this is what's come out.
Veterans with
Jesus.
Drogo, Outriders, Screamer, Illyrio, Piet, Tycho, and then it's the Daenerys, Mother of Dragons, Tully, the Unsullied Pikeman, Mother of Dragons, Tycho, Illyrio, Baelish list.
No, he must be a noob. I'd have gone for Barry and God.
So there you go.
Noob.
That's how you can tell. This list, when people say, "Oh, did you build Mother of Dragons?" we are going to see this carbon copy list, I think, a couple of times. It is not hard to build this list. It is not a surprise to build this. This is where me and Carlo get really angry and talk about meta and go, why is Mother Dragons a thing? Yeah. Anyway, on to table 3, we've got Lee Parkin from Dead Meta. I've been watching a lot of their streams recently. Lee's a free folk player, so he's immediately the best player on Earth. Versus James Stanford, another one of the Steadfast guys. Is this one of those friends of a friend of a friend?
I've met James once. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, I've only met him once, but he's part of a WhatsApp group that I'm also part of. But yeah, he's a really nice guy. A big shout out to the Dead Meta Gaming guys. Actually, they were kind of like late additions to the event, but like I think it's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Jumped on, so that's really cool. Yeah, no, it'd be good. I think what's interesting about these guys is they're like a self-contained meta wrecking ball, right? Like they obviously play each other a lot, presumably, if they've all got the same club affiliation. And it's just going to be interesting to see them hit like a tournament scene together and see what they do. So I think there's probably more Steadfast people in the club affiliation, but like they don't know each other really. So,
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be the same deal. I'm guessing these guys know each other a bit more.
Oh, really well. For what it's worth, guys, I've been checking out the Dead Meta Games streams recently. They've been doing like a weekly stream. They'll be playing like 2 or 3 games a night, and they stream them all. And I recommend checking them out. Like the games and stuff are generally speaking played fairly well. But the thing that I enjoy watching about them is I can get on and paint and do other stuff while I watch them like in the background, and they make quite good like background noise to kind of passively follow on. And they're decent players. I think some of the Dead Meta guys are going to be doing quite well. Down to table 4, Matthew Birch. Sorry, still don't know who you are, but you're a free folk player, so you're immediately amazing. Versus Spencer James. I had to just Spencer James and James Stanford just confused the shit out of me there. Another Steadfast player, strangely enough. There's a lot of these Steadfast players.
So Arthur Dane, the Sword of the Morning or whatever.
Yeah, Sword of Morning.
Take him on.
I really hope he doesn't just turn up and start cleaving people in twain.
I mean, that goes for everyone, right? Or are we just singling him out? Like,
just
No,
him.
fair
Just
enough
him.
for anybody else.
anyone else is allowed to shank whoever they want, but you.
Yeah, particularly
East
if
London.
you've got one of those replica swords from US Nationals. Yeah, I mean, you've earned the right to just decapitate people.
Oh dear. I don't know what to say about that. It's a free folk versus Targaryen. I think that's going to be quite an interesting matchup. Because free folk versus Targaryens, I think it's an interesting matchup anyway. I don't think it's an auto win. I think free folk have plays into Mother Dragons and Targaryens in general. I think they're one of those factions that's like some people struggle against the Targ, some people struggle against the Night's Watch. These are definitely the struggle against Night's Watch factions. So.
Just check a half-hour discussion about free folk tactics begins now.
Sure, well you asked. So anyway,
We specifically didn't.
And why this game mode is particularly good or bad for them, or how this. No one cares about your fucking free folk, Mickey.
Sorry guys, we'll leave it there for this week. um, so, in table number 5, I don't care about this table. There's no free folk. It's Michael Rainsbury Caldo from Steadfast, another one of your friends, Chris, against another.
I do actually know him. He's a good friend of mine.
Ah,
Yeah.
cool. Against
He
Aaron.
he proper sucks at the game though. So congrats, Aaron.
Oh dear. Dead meta. It's a Baratheon versus Lannister. I expect that to go the Lannister way, because Lannisters can just make Baratheons cry from ranged, usually by running away. But,
Interestingly, both doubled down on commanders. I think there's one free folk player who also went double mance.
yes,
I actually messaged Aaron because the lists are quite similar. I went, did you mean to do this, or is this a mistake, or what? And he was like, no. So not a mistake. It's
interesting ruse anyway. In general, there's been quite a bit of discussion just today on the LGT Discord, talking a bit about rules, particularly a Flame Man has no secrets. A Flame Man has no secrets is very strong. Let's just say that, like, the things it can block and the amount of stuff that it blocks is actually very large. There is a reason why Barristan Selmy, who has almost identical wording, is so favored by Targaryens. And a Flayed Man has no secrets is it, but your opponent doesn't know it's coming. So Roose in Lannisters is something that I'm surprised we don't see more of, and personally, I'm going to try out a lot when I go back to Lannisters.
He's my favourite. I think I've gone a bit more to High Sparrow, but he is definitely strong.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Right then. So, moving down the list, where are we? We are here. We are looking at Stephen Reed, Waiting for Virtue, is a relatively common now site for the TTS scene. He's quite common in the NRG discords and other discords from Hold the Law, versus Suvak, who I believe is one of our players coming from Poland, I believe. So, Free Folk, Double Mance versus Night's Watch.
The Poles are going to be strong.
Yeah,
they are. They have a very strong community. They're very strong players individually, and I have to believe that anybody who's traveling is already, very much at the top of their own game. Like the people who are willing to travel that far for an event, generally speaking, not exclusively, but they are already the stronger players in any region. They're looking to go to a new region and find new challenges because they're already doing very, very well in their own. So watch out for all the Polish players. I'm sure they're going to do really, really well.
Yeah, very fair.
I think as a Lannister player as well, I think Bloodraven is just one of those names that if you know anything about Lannisters, you can talk to him more when we get to him, I suppose. But he's probably the strongest Lannister player. I'll say that. I can't see the screen. I imagine Carlo's looks like a face like he's licked a stinging nettle or something. But no, it's
yeah, you can see the screen. You like. No,
I've got the window.
Bloodraven. Actually, we'll get to it. I'll be interested to see Bloodraven's list. I bet he brings guardsmen and not poor fellows. He loves guardsmen.
You literally can't be more wrong.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Unfortunately, I think I know exactly what Bloodraven's lists are, and we'll have to see how it pans out.
This looks like a census at a homeless shelter, basically, in terms of poor fellows. So, yeah,
ideal. He's really come on board at last.
So, I almost feel sorry for poor old Duncan on table 7. Friend old Duncan Rhodes is playing against Simon Kennedy, who's playing Night's Watch. It's a Lannister versus Night's Watch matchup. Are we going to see Duncan Rhodes pull out a Night's Watch win in round 1 and just blow people away with how good he is?
With Jamie.
Let's go.
I'm hoping he gets tabled. Then we've got more time to sort out the painting awards. The first lunch break.
Ooh.
Can we have a quick look at Simon's lists?
Simon, yeah. We've got the John Hunter Ghost Conscript Swarm Brother vet. Ooh, mixing it up, playing a Mitchy match. And then we've got Othel in vets, conscripts, a build across with a senior builder, Scorpion Crew, Scorpion Monk, Swarm Brothers.
Yeah, it's not the watch captain list. It's It's not just internet cookie cutter. I do like his awful list, actually. Personally, I really like the Scorpion and the kind of pressure it puts on. That will play a much better game. Duncan isn't getting the rawest end of the entry into, hey, here's competitive A Song of Ice and Fire. Awful Night's Watch. I mean, he sort of is, but it's it's not actually the roughest way it could be.
He's played in a few tournaments, to be fair. So I don't think it will be a complete trial by fire. I'm sure he's more than capable.
Definitely.
But that's just the bias, isn't it? When you can paint well, people think you can't play. So we'll see. I'm sure.
I'm well aware Duncan is like a massive shark. Because he always comes across as one of these like really nice players. I bet you any money like he gets to the table, he's an arsehole.
Yeah, deadpan.
Yeah.
Just like,
you missed your time in trivia.
Counterplot, motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, he's 100%. He's just right. Anyway, moving on to table 8, we've got Daniel Harwood versus Ross Gardner. Ross, of course, Drogon from the NRG Discord. He's bringing up his Lannisters. And we got Daniel Harwood from Chelmsford. Shout out for Chelmsford. Back in my home.
I played against Dan Harwood at what is my mind?
Lincoln?
At the Lincoln event. Yeah, Lincoln event. What was that called again?
The
my mind is blank. He has some strong Night's Watch lists. He's relatively new to competitive Song, coming from competitive Guild Ball mostly, which tells you that he has a very high ceiling because competitive Guild Ball is competitive. So yeah, hopefully he'll do well.
Next up, table 9, Stephen McCormick, again someone we've played against before, Carlo, from Scotland, versus Liam O'Connell. And can we just take a minute here for a round of applause, everyone? Stephen McCormick is our best neutral player, so well done. You'll find...
It's not impossible that a neutral player will just turn up on the day and be entered from round 2 onwards.
Not impossible. But...
Not impossible.
Just to allay any fears, I'm gonna a bit of a spoiler here for you. I know these have already kind of been revealed. This is an early image here. Lord of Harrenhal, this is yours, assuming that no one else turns up and you actually play your games at all.
Yeah, assuming you stay until the end of the event, this is probably yours.
And your name will go on there. Nice thing to take home. It will look better than this probably when it's printed. Don't worry.
But I mean, it's really great that people rep a faction. He has repped neutrals forever. I've played in multiple events where he's been there, and it's always neutrals. And I hope he takes the faction far. Like I really do hope that he takes the faction far.
Could he solo take the faction to a highest place average finish?
That would be quite something. But yeah, I think he's got a good shout of not being the bottom faction, which I know is horrible to say, but you know, Greyjoys are a bit low, and might be able to rough out Starks and Baratheons maybe. Who knows? Could win the whole thing. But no, it's awesome that he's playing them, sticking to his guns.
His opponent just there, Liam O'Connell, don't know anything about him, can't say I know anything, no club affiliation either, but I just want to appreciate his nickname on stats is Drogon's left ear.
He's playing Loras, so he knows how to play Baratheons.
That's true.
Because Loras is the only Baratheon commander that's doing well.
True. In at table 10, we have got Oscar Kidar versus Thomas Small. Now, Oscar, someone you will probably have heard of, it's Hajmon, who's been big in the Polish scene before. He was present before 1.6 finished and 2021 released. He went a bit silent, he went a bit quiet, and he's back. And this time he's repping his Baratheons, and he's gone double Loras.
Told you, he knows the faction.
I mean,
the Poles know how to play. It's as simple as that.
True. And Thomas Smalley, I know he's been very active in the LGT Discord, so he'll no doubt be catching up with that. And hello, by the way, Steve, in chat there. So, it's Matthew Kenny. I don't know enough about Matthew Kenny with his Baratheons up on table 11 versus Gregory Dean Gregors, his Lannister list. Good to see Gregors appearing in an event. And he'll be on the table next to me, which is great. I'll be able to chat to him.
Try and pick that side of the table, Mickey, because that's what's important.
It is. Yeah, it is totally. And that brings me, of course, to table 12, myself versus Vlad. That is blind luck, isn't it? After talking with Vlad literally last week and saying, oh, he really wanted to come over and what he was trying to kind of like arrange, and he's managed to make it. As it stands, he's trying to hopefully make it. And so I fully expect, I fully expect to have an interestingly fun game on day one. First game. I think Vlad is pretty good at the game. So maybe my first game will be pretty balls to the wall. Time to crush him. Hopefully.
Go on, Vlad, mate. You're my pick.
I mean, I've been growing my beard for 2 weeks while on holiday just for Vlad. Do you know what I mean? Like, and everybody loved it when I was replaced by Vlad with his manly beard and his massive shoulders. So I've been getting my shoulders big, growing a beard, all for you, Vlad. So
no,
I'll probably shave it off in embarrassment before the LGT.
We are probably going to talk about a load of like random stuff, including like the Rugby World Cup that's happening in France in 2023, more than play the game. So yeah, can't say that I'm fussed with that.
I think seeing Vlad and Carlo next to each other is going to be the real life version of your mum has pizza at home meme.
Hey, I'm nice in person.
Jesus. If that's your trump card, you're in trouble.
I'm not bigger in person. I am nicer in person.
So, next up we've got Colin Dean. Colco has been a prolific Night's Watch player. Has been winning some events with Night's Watch. Just play. He's running Targaryens for this event, so he's traded out his Night's Watch, believing that Targaryens is the way to go, which I think is very interesting.
Colco won Board in Brum, which is a 26-player event, 2021 26-player event, which would put it right up in the realms of being like the biggest UK event ever. I think there was like a 28-man event back in 1.6, but it's certainly the biggest 2021 event in the UK
so far
under the current rules set. And it might, I'm not fully aware of what's gone on in the rest of the world, but it's got to be one of the biggest events that's taken place. There were good players there. I was there standard, along with Mahoney Slaw and Winter is Coming. There were some good players there, and he won that event. So he'll be one of the UK guys to watch, I think.
I would absolutely say that Colco is somebody to watch out for. A, because of his previous track record of winning with Night's Watch, and more than that he has won with Night's Watch and is now is bringing Targaryens, tells you that he really understands Night's Watch and probably believes that he can win that matchup. I think that somebody who's performed at a very high level with a faction knows the faction, and that is an incredibly important skill to have. To know Targaryens and to know Night's Watch is to be in with a great shot of winning this event.
What's his list like out of interest? I can't remember them.
The Colco list, let's have a look. I think he's got the Mother of Dragons. It's the standard Pike. This is the thing. This is my criticism. He runs the Pike, Tycho Illyria Baelish list, which we've seen other Mother of Dragons lists. It's firmly believed that this isn't the most optimal, and that there are counters to this, with the Barristan ad and the BG take rather than the Pike list.
I think that's the way to go personally, but I think
depends what are you playing that into though. Why do you want Barristan so much?
Exactly. Why do you want Barristan? And that's where you've got to ask yourself. So why, if he's not planning on taking the Mother of Dragons list into likely Night's Watch, we see his Drogo list come out against Night's Watch. We see the Flayed Men, the Outriders with the Fortune Seeker, Pikeman with Dario, and Solo Jorah with Barristan, Dany, and Jaqen. Now that is a tech pick that I've seen. I kind of expected someone might do it. I didn't think it would be Colco. The Jaqen pick to copy Barristan, turning off 2 Watch Captains. That is.
Or turn off Watch Captain. He goes to use it. You get rid of it. You charge it. You put the other one on, and you've also been able to switch off. You've also been able to switch off Stand and Shoot.
Yeah.
Ready and release.
This is very much this is his anti-Night's Watch list. Without going into too much detail and revealing his secrets to everybody, that should be the one I expect. not entirely convinced that it will be good enough. So yeah. Also, he's up against Sir Jacob of Glace, another free folk player, Bailey. He's been talking a lot again more recently, quite common on the site as well. Cool.
But yeah, good luck to Bailey, like obviously, because I don't want it to sound like we're just bigging up Colin. Like
No.
you got a chance, but it would be a good scalp for you. And I mean, and if you have a hard game, it probably won't get much harder than that. So
Hope so, right?
brush yourself off after lunch, and you'll be right back in it.
If that's the hardest game he's got all weekend, and then he goes on to win the event, you can't really complain, can you?
No, well, it'll be Bailey. I mean, Bailey should be definitely be one to watch if he can smash Colin up, I think.
Sure. Cool. Right then, we'll keep going through. We're gonna go through them all, guys. You know how it is here. We don't do things in half. So Mahoney against John Craig. Now this is a matchup I'd actually love to see. This is a Night's Watch versus Targaryen. Mahoney obviously has been around the block a little bit. He's apparently not been playing as much in 2021. He's a bit old hat. He's a bit worn down. I've heard that he's a bit out of it. And then I see him run an awful conscript, double watch captain, double conscript, 2 more, and Jaw Baelish.
He's only got 2 NCUs. He's crap.
We'll get onto that discussion later on. And he runs a Donald Noy list, which is interesting, with triple conscript, double flayed men. Fuck you! And the triple NCU. This is a man who has clearly gone, I want to pack the least number of possible units, so I'll pack 4 NCUs in total, 3 infantry units, 2 ranger units, and 2 cavalry units. Done.
It's even worse than that, because he's got me and Tom packing conscripts, I think. Yeah, I mean, what is interesting about Mahoney is he won the CMON Run UK Games Expo Championship thing at the Games Expo, whenever it was, a couple of years ago now.
19, right?
Yeah, maybe 2019. So he's arguably the winner of the biggest. They done it very weirdly because they had qualifiers and stuff happening the day before, but he's arguably the winner of the biggest UK event so far, until this weekend at least. So yeah, just an interesting thing. It'd be pretty amazing if he managed to win that. I think it was a 1.5 tournament.
That was pre the Night's Watch nerf, right? That led into 1.6.
Oh, they actually dropped the 1.5 changes on the second day of the tournament, if I remember correctly. Yeah, no, that's what happened. Yeah.
Classic.
I luckily brought everything with me, but Tywin instantly got a lot better because they super upgraded the Reigns of Castamere, for example. But yeah, no. So he as much stick as I do give him, it would be interesting to see how he does in like a big tournament where he's got like a motivation to do well. John is running we should probably mention the other GT. He's running one in Scotland, isn't he, in September?
Yes. Yeah.
Not September. What about January? We're running one in September. January.
Yeah. So
John Craig is the champion, shall we call it, in various senses, be it, just like the main driver of the game, the best player, possibly, in the Common Ground Games group. So it's a really interesting matchup. John, I believe, is actually a very competitive Age of Sigmar player. So I hope that he's bringing his Song A game, because I know that he could do really, really well. I hope that he's, got his focus on it and brings his A game, because he's going to need to against Mahoney, unless, as you say, Mahoney has passed it and washed up old loser.
Mahoney will be 6 points deep by like 4 o'clock. So if you are going to play him, try and play him game 3 on Saturday.
So I also want to give a shout out, obviously, to John. His Always Winter podcast, which I know he's had a on and off stint of more recently. He's not been able to produce as many episodes. We do check out the Always Winter podcast. It's created by John, because it's quite interesting to hear his thoughts and thoughts of some of the other Scottish guys on the game. So table 15, and we've got give ourselves a bit of time for this. It's not only Dan, our friend, someone we've known for many moons, playing his Starks, but it's also Scadman, who is, wooden spoon winner, and all-round absolute gentleman who, if you haven't checked out Scabman's blogs that he's been doing more recently, do check them out. They're actually quite interesting to see his thoughts. They're only short reads as well, so yeah, Kieran versus Dan. I don't even care who wins that game, to be honest. I think that's going to be two great guys playing against each other. They'll have a great time, a great game on a Saturday morning. So yeah.
Pulled across Scadman's blog because he posted like issue for episode 4 or whatever you call it on Facebook. Really, really interesting. More like a diary of a Song of Ice and Fire player. But yeah, he's Scadman. He's in the UK GT group. I'm sure if you drop him a message, he'll give you a link to it. Or if you're listening, Scadman, I encourage you to post a link to it in the thing. It's really it's really interesting. People should read it. I think it's quite cool.
There you go. Blog there. Do recommend reading through it. It's really interesting seeing what his thoughts are. He also what's really funny is he absolutely brutalizes himself when he loses a game. He's like, oh yeah, and by the way, I played this game and I was shite. Very honest with himself and his play. Cool. So up at table 16, we're nearly there. Adam Harbison from Dead Matter, Adam from Dead Matter again, versus Duggars. I know Duggars is listening, or at least he was listening earlier. Baratheon Lannister. Got to take it. I've got to give Duggars the win here. I just think Lannister.
It feels almost like we've gone and ended up with a lot of thematic matchups here. This is weird. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Adam beat me in Liverpool. With probably that Stannis Baratheon, the One True King list.
Shall we just relive your horrifying time?
It was a bit of a free fall for you on Liverpool, though, wasn't it? By all accounts.
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
it didn't have Dragonstone Noble last time. If this I believe Adam's the same person. It was definitely somebody from Dead Matter Gaming. I'm just adding 2 and 2 together and getting 5 because he was playing Baratheon's playing One True King.
List likely juggled about if he's got Lightbringers in, unless that
Absolutely.
event had. Yeah, unless that event had.
Duggars, I believe, is really coming in hard to impress Duncan himself, and is going for the painting prizes.
Yes, Duggars is gonna.
He's painting Hylo's army as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
And doing multiple individual. I think he's just
things that he's not entering in to the actual event. He's just entering into the painting competitions. So best of luck on all of those various fields that you're going for there, mate.
You know what? I mean, on the topic of Duggars and obviously Hylo, for me, I think it's gonna be great. Obviously, Carlo, you've been able to get out there in the real world and see a lot of these people and events and things you've been able to attend. But for various reasons, I haven't been able to, and I can't stress enough how much I'm just going to enjoy meeting people in the flesh, being able to talk to them, being able to actually, get to know these people, put a face to a name, and meme. Ultimately, it's all about the memes, isn't it? So, I think it's going to be real fun. Hylo, obviously, again, we'll just call him Duggars Mark II, shall we? I'm sure he won't be offended by that. Versus
the other member of MO2, which I'm pretty sure is Meta of 2, i.e., they only ever play each other up until they went to this Lincoln tournament. They had been each other's only ever opponent. Hylo is very good, and Duggars is long suffering as always losing to Hylo. But that's just the way some things go, isn't it, Mickey?
Wouldn't know, mate. When was the last time you beat me? Anyway, so against Stuart Warren. Stuart is another friend of yours, Chris, or is he one of these ones that you only know via a name in a WhatsApp group?
Yeah, couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but he's in a WhatsApp group. Seems like a decent guy. Don't know what to say. Yeah, he's a good guy. He that would be a good game. I'm sure I haven't checked the WhatsApp group, but he's probably cursing that he's got Night's Watch
probably
in there right now.
But it's a Night's Watch Targaryen mirror or match.
Yeah.
I love these. Next up, we are seeing Owen Summerscales, who I have no idea who he is. But can we just take a moment, Owen? And I'm mildly disappointed because your name is Garland Terrell, and you're running Targaryens. Now, the last time I checked, Garland is not a Targaryen. Fair enough if you think you're going to do well, but come on. Let yourself down there, Owen. I'm disappointed. especially with the name like Summer Scales. If that's your actual name, surely you should play the Knights of Summer. Surely. Ah. Anyway.
Yeah, 'cause
We're not
don't have
all lore
scales, do they?
players here like Chris.
Yeah.
Haven't even heard what he's bringing for the ELO tournament yet. And we've got him against Daniel Toon from Bad Wargamers. I know very little about Daniel Toon, only that he's part of the Toon family who are going to be here. That's about it.
Yeah, there's a father and two sons trio coming down, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it'd be good to see. Who's the dominant leader of the pack out of those three.
Next up, Rupert Edwards, Reg Edit, great name, with his Free Folk, immediately good, running another double Mance against Adam Fizzwiz from Dead Meta Gaming, so another Dead Meta Gaming player running double High Sparrow. So that is, I'm going to take a punt here, and I'm going to say that is going to be Mance Raider versus High Sparrow. I reckon.
Rupert posts a lot on Facebook, I'm pretty sure. He
does, yeah.
I've definitely seen him at an event, possibly both of Brum and Board and Swords in Derby. But yeah, I'm 99% sure that I have met Rupert. 99.
Pretty bad
If I'm putting the right person with the right face, but there we go.
Four fellow Horde versus Raider Horde is going to be like Black Friday opening morning.
How much trash do you have on the field?
Yeah, it's going to be just people running out with tellies and stuff and battering each other with God knows what. And that'll be good. Hopefully they'll get done in 2 hours if they've both gone Mega Horde. To see.
Hopefully. I've only set up. Table 20, again, nearly there. Tim Whitney. Whitney is a good painter. He does a load of stuff on painting. And I think Duggars is going to be a massive shout for trying to get that painting competition win from you. So you better put in extra hard work this week. And then against Philippe Bertrand, who's one of the guys from La Barretio, travelling over from France, another one of the French contingent. And Philippe is relatively big in the French community. He does a lot of like posts. He interacts with the community a lot. He does a lot of like community content stuff. He's a relatively big name in the French community. If you're not sure about the French community, so I'm really happy to have him over. And running Baratheons. He's running Davos. I don't even care if he wins or not. He's running Davos. Love him already. Love Davos. Shame he's not good. Oliver John Tidball, Hungry Zombie 69 versus Duckers.
He's a really nice guy, or both are, but Oliver or OJ. He's a really good painter, but I don't think because he throws Free Focus especially. I don't think he's going to get fully painted for this, but hopefully he's managed to get some stuff done for the individual painting competitions. So yeah, be good to see his stuff in the flesh again. But yeah, he's a really good painter.
I think there's going to be a really, really high standard painting in the competitions, at the event as a whole. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing people's armies, seeing them on the table, getting played out. I hope that that whole hobby aspect of the tournament is really, really great to see, and I'm sure it will be.
Definitely agree. And we see next up Bloodraven, a friend over from Poland. Played a game the other night with him. Obviously, great guy. Camille's absolutely legend. Versus Daniel Kennedy. No, don't think about Daniel, but I do know Kenneth has been posting quite a lot again on the LGT Discord, I think. Asking questions, just confirming stuff, making sure he gets all the information he needs, rules and things like that. So, yeah. Cool. Great. I have nothing to say there. Bloodraven. It's a Lannister mirror, actually, I've just realised. Lannister mirror, and I don't...
1, 2, 3, and Warrior Sons. Yeah, predictable.
Yeah. You ready for this?
1, 2, 3. Oh my God, my man! Yes, yes, yes. I used back when they were 5 points. I used to run this list with High Sparrow back when High Sparrow was different, and I honestly, I'm so glad. I love this. I love that.
your comment of he'll definitely take guardsman has to go alongside the what happens when you have to roll your highest attack value, lowest attack value.
Oh,
Absolutely
Blooper.
perfect. I mean, it is odd because he is one of the few highly competitive, high achieving Lannister players that I've ever seen pick guardsmen over poor fellows. Because the general consensus is that poor fellows are just better. They were last edition, they are this edition. So that's why that's why I made that statement, because he's the only high level Lannister player I've ever seen do it. And I'm almost so glad that he's running Poor Fellows now, because I've always believed that he's an incredibly good player who's been playing substandard units. And I really want to see how well he does now that he's not playing substandard units. Because honestly, I believe that he's been holding himself back with his Lannister lists for quite a while.
do you want to know
What does
something? Yeah, go on.
sorry, Kingsguard Jamie, is he assassinate and
The
duelist
Counter-Strike.
and
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to know something really funny? After speaking with Bloodraven, he doesn't consider himself a competitive player. He just plays for fun, which is absolutely mental considering how
Bullshit.
good he is.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not really that competitive. I've just got these 6 boxes of Poor Fellows laying around.
Yeah, nobody owns 6 boxes of Poor Fellows without being a competitive player.
Carlo pulls out his 18 boxes of Poor Fellows.
Jesus.
Oh. Right,
Anyway,
yeah.
I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do think he's a very good player. So I want to see how well he does. He's done very, very well online on TTS in the past.
Yeah. We've got Alan Bainbridge from Dead Meta Gaming up against Matthew Toon, another one of the Toon family. It's a Targaryen Night's Watch game again. Fair enough. Yeah. I have no idea about either Alan or Matthew in terms of their ability. I've seen Alan a couple times on stream. I'm sure it will go fine. I'm sure it will go good.
One of the bad side effects of all these Targaryen and Night's Watch players is a lot of people that lose their first game are going to play Targaryens or Night's Watch in the second round as the mirrors come down. So that's a bit unfortunate. But
almost half of the Targaryen and Night's Watch players will be out of the running to win the event after the first round. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate as well, actually. But I guess they've got a very good opportunity to submarine up their way back up the table and get high podium spots, I suppose.
You want to win the event, you got to win all your games. It doesn't matter which order they come in, you know.
Yeah, very true. What do we feel? Sorry, do we feel that Honed and Ready favours Night's Watch over Targaryens?
It depends on the style of lists. So Alan here, I think, might actually have an advantage in this particular matchup running the Barristan list, because I'm guessing, it's the Barristan Pikeman style lists, which can just dominate the center of the table and crack down on like the side flanks a bit more. But it might just be a short list. It might be too short to actually get through the potential, which is what I'm guessing is going to be run. Well, he doesn't run the kind of like super meta build. He's got the build of Crossman Watch Captain there with Offal. So yeah, maybe he can withstand the attacks that are being put into him. I don't know.
I think it's not really a question, because mostly the strength of Night's Watch and Targaryens, they're not playing the game mode. They actually don't care what the game, like their strength. And what's annoying about them, the reason I actually dislike the balance, more than how powerful they are, it's that Night's Watch most competitive list is completely irrespective of game mode. It doesn't care what the mode is, and it doesn't go out there to play the mode. It goes out there to kill you. And then once you're practically dead, it'll go, and I'll pick up some VPs from the mode as well. But, so I don't think that the mode sways it either way if it's played the way I think it will. What matters is the list matchup and what gets picked, and terrain placement, I think, is the most important things in that Targaryen Night's Watch pairing.
Interesting.
Fair. So I guess the next thing we've got to ask ourselves is Tom Tyler running Targaryens against Greyjoy.
So Tom was umming and ahhing whether to play neutrals. So he's another one of these neutral diehards. He played them pretty much when I met him. So I met him through the game, but he's one of the people along with. I also met Dean. Oh, we must have gone past. Oh, no, he was in the first game, I think. Dean Rothwell, as Targaryens that I met through the game. I think Winter is probably the best player in our group now. I don't think that was always the case. I think he's got a lot better, and me and Mahoney have got a lot worse, which have just taken it out of the equation. I think he's the strongest person. So, obviously super impartial from a judging perspective, and I don't think I would be silly enough to do anything like that. But yeah, I think he's the guy that I would back. If you back your friends, I'd probably rate him over Mahoney, R.I.P. But yeah, I think Tom. I think Tom's got a good chance. Got a really good chance.
Fair.
Tom's always on TTS, playing TTS games, and that's just like, if you want to be better at this game, it's not that you have to play TTS to be good, or that like there aren't good players who've never played TTS, but if you want to find new opponents, learn more about the game, play more varied lists, play against different styles, and learn more stuff from loads of people, TTS is the place to do it. Like, the game and its upper level of players has improved massively since TTS came along, since TTS became popular, since TTS tournaments have become regular. I know that the level that I'm playing at, I don't play on TTS anymore. I haven't for a while, but the level that I got to was significantly higher once I started playing on TTS. I was already doing very well in physical UK-based tournaments before I'd ever played a game on TTS. And then I went on TTS. I learned so much more about the game. I learned so much more about things that can be done, various list styles, how to improve my lists, and just like things about the game in general. And I'm not surprised that he has continued to get better, as he is the most regular player from your group who's there looking for TTS games all the time.
Agreed.
Definitely. I mean, before lockdowns, I won a couple of tournaments with Lannisters, and I got on TTS. I'm like a rank average player. I think I over time climbed up to like 20th in the leaderboards before it got reset with a new edition. But before then, really average. It just, yeah, you're playing people with new metas. Are these people adapting quicker to you? A lot of it comes down to, and yeah, it's just Tom knows about every faction because he plays so much. He plays against and with other factions on TTS. And yeah, and again, I don't want to belittle Paul's chances, but just know either way, if you beat Tom, that will be a very good first game, and that will be, you can expect good things from the event. If you do lose to Tom, that will probably be your hardest game, so you can get 4 easier games. Tom at Board in Brum did actually manage to lose his first game using Targaryens against neutrals, but did submarine all the way back up to 3rd spot. So we might see a repeat of that maybe, but no, Tom's one to watch along with a few of the others we've mentioned, I feel.
We've then got, to round it off, the last of the Toon family, David Toon versus Jack Daniels, Prince Whiskey. I have to admit, this last one has got a bit of a special place in my heart. It's a Stark versus Lannister, and I think, going back through all of the other games, all of the other possible combinations that we have not had another Stark versus Lannister matchup. So you've got to give it to these guys holding up at the bottom table there. Not like it matters for round 1. A Stark versus Lannister, and a return to classic, A Song of Ice and Fire. And not only that, we see Brynden and Great John versus Tywin and Gregor. Some classic commanders coming out as well. Gotta love it.
Yeah, some real Riverlands action going on there.
Riverlands raiding going on right there.
Definitely. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
So then, that's all the 25 tables. Obviously, we've gone through everyone. We will not be going through them again. Have a look at the list yourself. Anyone can access these lists. Anyone can have a look at the matchups and things like that. I know I'm looking forward to my first round. I'm sure other people are as well. Hoping it all goes smoothly. I'm hoping that people will not suddenly have to not turn up to the event because of other things. We are aware that there's still a pandemic going on. Chris, you hyped?
I'm super hyped. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to it being over. I'm looking forward to it being active, it being in the middle of the event. So yeah, a couple of busy days getting it all ready in the final little stretch. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing guys that I've met from the UK tournament scene again, saying hello, having a drink. Looking forward to meeting people that I've only seen the usernames on Discord, things like that. But it's going to be if you like playing a Song of Ice and Fire, it's the place to be this weekend anywhere in the world, right? There's nowhere else better to be
Hopefully.
than in that Lee Valley Athletics Centre. If you like
Definitely.
playing a Song of Ice and Fire this weekend, definitely.
You say that, but I mean, not to
Okay, on a beach somewhere, I suppose.
not to play down how great this event's going to be. I actually think there's some other huge events going on this weekekend.
We'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah, I think there's loads of events happening this weekend, but it is hopefully. I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be really, really big. I can't wait to see everybody say hello, see their armies, see them play out. I would have said, oh, it's definitely going to be a Night's Watch or a Targaryen winner, but like half of they're all playing each other in round one. They're all playing each other in round one. That almost throws a little spanner in the works of like, maybe it won't be. Maybe a Lannister, a Baratheon. I mean, no, not Baratheons, but maybe something else is going to sneak in there.
Definitely. Also, can't forget about the Friday ELO event as well. There are 13 players currently signed up. I'll need to double check I've taken everyone off the waiting list. Please, if you are, going to on the Friday, do sign up on the stats as well. This will be list locked, and your matchups will be done Tuesday, tomorrow. That's right. I'm doing it tomorrow. I know, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But we're doing it on the day.
On the day.
On registration. I'm pretty sure.
We're doing it on registration, yeah. No, we're doing it on
I'm pretty
registration.
sure that's what we told people.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, we're doing it on registration.
I'm still entered as Othel twice. That my lists are just called Othel lol.
Yeah, we're doing it on the day. I do remember why we're doing it on the day. Just because obviously people turning up and might not know things like that. So don't worry if you are entered and you think, oh, I don't know my matchup for the ELO event. It's way more casual. Don't think of it like it's kind of some kind of as organized or as crazy to like think about and prepare for. Ultimately you'll be playing against people like Chris and Carlo, who we know are washed up and beaten players who basically have got nothing to prove anymore. So I mean, Carlo literally had to go and spend 2 and a bit weeks in the mountains, like coming over the fact that he's gone past his prime in A Song of Ice and Fire. So
he lost one tournament game and then took Night's Watch to a tournament. Like pretty
Actually, I lost 2 tournament games. Let's get it. Let's get it right.
I think it's very, very telling. His self-esteem is that fragile that he's had to do that.
Definitely.
But no, this ELO event. So if you're coming to the, I'm sure we talked about it. I don't suppose you mind if I get on a step stool quickly, Mickey, and just shout about it. So if you come into the GT and you're going to be traveling down on the Friday and you don't get caught on the M25 because the Extinction guys are out in force. I don't know what's going on with those, but this will be a really good just icebreaker event. Come down, play 3 games. We've done loads and loads of information on why ELO events are different, but basically it encourages you to bring weaker commanders. The event starts at midday, so the times there are accurate. Starts at 1:30 for registration. So it'll go on into the evening, but the kind of thought process is that everyone that comes to this will be staying locally to come to the GT the next day anyway. The bar will be open till late. If you are coming but are going to miss that first game, if you're traveling far, you can still come to the venue. It's open. There might be an opportunity for you to play pickup games against other randomers. I'm not 100% sure yet, but the bar will be open, so you can just come in, say hello, familiarize yourself with the location. If you're one of these nut jobs that likes me, that likes to scout places out before I go properly the next day, you can do that. And yeah, it will just be super fun. Me and Carlo will be playing, so be able to let our hairs down a little bit and get some games in with you guys, and that should be awesome. But yeah, that's kind of it. And Mickey will be running on the day, so well-known A Song of Ice and Fire celebrity Mickey Arnold will be running the event.
I refuse
yeah.
to do it now. I'm not going to turn up.
Oh shit. Okay.
He's too big of a name. Too big of a name to show his face.
Yeah.
Which is why he's gone blurry on camera.
No, that's just an idiot. And I fucked with it. Anyway. Yeah. Cool. I don't think there's anything left to cover with the LGT, is there?
No,
I think that's it.
I'll pop off. I guess the only other thing I would say is if you are coming to the LGT, I am probably going to send another email just to remind people that the M25 might be an issue. Also, I don't suppose you would mind. I don't want to run your whole show off, of course, but just showing people how they can put their lists in for that first game and advise them that they might not want to unless they are 100% sure they know what they're putting in. If that makes any sense.
You mean as in how they can select their lists
Yeah.
for the game?
Yeah, when you show them, when you go onto the homepage. So, first thing which I found out a little while ago when I was at a tournament, which people didn't realize and didn't know, is if you click A Song of Ice and Fire stats, it will take you back to the homepage. That's how you get back to the homepage. I realize a lot of people don't know that. This second, Mickey's in 2 tournaments. He's playing online, which is why he has 2 tournament games here. But you can see the one that popped up versus LF12, Vlad himself. And if he hits enter game there, then he'll be able to go in and he'll be able to see his lists and Vlad's lists. And because it's a tournament, the game mode is already locked. He can see his own lists there on the top, Vlad's lists below. And when he's ready, which is the very first thing that happens in any game, is he will lock his list in. So he will select from the drop down. Once this is locked in, it is locked in, right? This is your selection of your list. This is at the start of the game when you reveal your 2 lists to your opponent.
You don't need to do the
So
reveal.
don't lock in unless you're sure.
Yeah.
As things stand right now, if you're in the LGT, you have a first round, you can see your opponent's lists, you can check the game mode, you can start strategizing right from now. Ideally, and in all the events that I've been to in the past, everybody has been very, very happy to use their phones to do all of this. And it will make the event run very, very smoothly if you can. If you can't do that, then you'll have to bring your scores to the TO and we could submit the results for you. You don't have to have a phone and you don't have to be doing it there and then through the site on the day. It does make things much, much smoother for you to be able to find your table for the next round, submit your results, all that kind of stuff. But if you can, use your phone, bring your phone. It should be all brilliant. If you have any issues, then just bring it to the TO. But you'll be able to find all the information about your next round, your next pairing, your lists, your opponent's list, lock them all in through the app, and it will show once Mickey locks in. Then when Vlad is also locked in, it will show each other the lists that you've picked, and you will be ready to play the game. If you were doing a normal challenge, it's exactly the same, except there's an extra step where it asks you to first submit your lists because they're not locked through the tournament, and then it asks you to randomly select your game mode. But, hopefully that's all relatively simple with a couple of questions that, like people have. Basically, it's all gone very smoothly in the past.
Yes. There is nothing that can possibly go wrong and it will be perfect. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool. I do hope that people, especially people that are maybe new to the game, the tournament scene, it's a really good opportunity just to check what your opponent's going to be bringing in round 1. You can familiarize yourself with the rules if you're maybe a little bit unfamiliar on what the opponent's stuff does, which is really cool. You can obviously read the mission rules ahead of time as well. And I just think that 2 hours, which is what we've given for the game round, is I think is like a very generous amount of time. And I just think that all these little things before the game should enable that you're spending as much of that 2 hours playing as possible. So there'll be less sort of questions at the beginning, less messing around, working out the game mode and all that sort of stuff. But
I was going to say, Chris, what I recommend is Carlo and Chris's like TO duties. Carlo is head judge, and TO duties from Chris have effectively now started, right? This is your chance. You know what your matchup is. This is your chance to ask about rules interactions in your first game this week. You don't need to get to the table to find out what the rules interactions are. You know, I think that's going to be really important for everybody. I know for a fact that I'm going to have some rules questions come up in the tournament. It's all. I've already asked a couple, just confirming stuff that I thought was the case. People have rules come up, so why not ask things that come up before the tournament now? You know, makes sense. Plus, it gives Carlo.
I think Mickey's response to the ruling was, "I hate Night's Watch."
I actually think it was, wasn't it? Genuinely think it was actually.
You might have said, "For the record, I hate Night's Watch."
No. Can I let it be known that I hate Night's Watch?
Let it be proclaimed that I hate Night's Watch.
To which Carlo's response in classic form was, "Get good." Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, Chris. Are you now going to go away and spend your evening doing anything better than this?
Yeah, I'm playing Mass Effect 3 at the minute, mate. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that. No, not right now.
All right.
He's been playing it for the last hour and a half.
Probably why I couldn't see your screen.
Right. I'm off. No, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you guys Friday.
Yes, see you Friday, Chris. Take it easy, buddy.
See you soon.
So, Carlo, Chris is gone. That means we've been unleashed upon the world.
Absolutely. We can. To Carl, we'll almost find out on the day, like really what internet kind of access is available. Daryl and Scott are absolutely intending to take cameras down, that kind of stuff. I think they optimistically think that they might be able to stream and maybe even commentate it, possibly. I think just streaming the game would be just streaming the game will be the best we can hope for. I think that there probably isn't enough space and time for there also to be commentary over the top of it. But I would say there is absolutely going to be recordings at the very least, and they may become post game kind of battle report at the very least. As for the forum rulings, you know what? That has just reminded me of a rant that I'm just going to have to say, right?
Right. Okay. Rant number
Here we
one.
go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Strap in. Here's your rant. These are the things that I've been preparing for the past couple of weeks, right? Here's a rant. There exists order of maesters. There's 3 Sales. There's Sunday Slaughter. There's NRG. All of those have rules discussion parts. There is Facebook. There's even like Reddit and stuff like that. People go on those places and ask questions when they want a response from somebody and they want an answer as to what the community thinks. Then there is the official forum where when you ask a question, it is because you want an official CMON answer. And when I go on it, I'm looking for an official CMON answer. I don't give a flying fuck what the rest of the community think the answer is. Stop posting answers on people's questions. They've posted the question because they want an answer from Michael Chanel.
True.
Like, if you want to give somebody an answer, go answer them in fucking Order of Maesters. It makes every thread 2 to 3 times as long, 2 to 3 times as difficult to find the official response of. This happened because over the past, 2 weeks while I was away, I was familiarizing myself with all the forum posts to try and find out what the official rulings were in time, to be ready for them as the TO of the event. And I'm just like, people just like give these responses the only acceptable responses are, here is a direct link to where this has already been answered by an official source, i.e., here's a direct quote from the FAQ, or here is a link to where this has already been answered in the forum. Or you can expand upon the question because you also want something answered. Anything else, nobody cares what you have to say. Please wait for an official CMON representative to answer the question. The forums exist and are a super, super important and powerful tool because you need written answers to these things, because if they come up in an argument, in a tournament, in somebody's gaming group, Michael Chanel said this once in a podcast, is not an acceptable answer. So even if that's what your answer is going to be on the forum, oh, I 100% know the right answer because Michael Chanel said this on a podcast once, that doesn't help me. What I need is a written response from Michael Chanel or Fabio or anybody else who is acting under official CMON organized rulings. That's a bit left field, but anyway, since as Carl brought it up, like,
yep,
and yes, 100%. I don't know exactly what forum rulings he is talking about, but if he's made a ruling, then that's what I stick by. Rules as written, forum posts as written, rulings as given. I will not overrule the designer of the game in any way.
Yeah, he's got to come first, hasn't it? It's got to be the right rule there. And even if people don't like it, that's the thing. It's not about whether you like a rule or not. It's about what the rule is. Unfortunately, that's how these things have to be played. So, right. Other news. Carlo, we said it at the start of the episode, and then we didn't actually say anything about it. We talked about how stuff was being delivered. Mine eventually got sorted. Mine got delayed a bit, and then changed to when I was going to get it, then delayed a bit, and then I finally got mine. So I now have... Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Are you even going to believe this when I show you it physically? I mean, you are, because you've already got one, right? Get it out here. Ciao. Look at that.
Whoa.
Card update pack. Wow. Which means I can finally get rid of...
Neutrals. Sorry, Brathians. More Brathians. Double Brathians.
Double Brathians. Turn that off for a second.
Yeah.
There's our card update pack with that lovely sheen on it from my light above my desk. And gone are the days where I had these... Look, can you see that foil card hidden underneath that photocopied thing? Gone are the days of those, Carlo.
I play every faction, so I mean...
Makes sense. In these lovely, fresh 2021 cards. Oh.
Togs, everything. I got loads of stuff. I
love it.
Oh no. There are a lot of Baratheons. And they're all over the floor. Okay, I'm gonna leave them.
Turns out Carlo's also become inept since coming back from his holidays.
The brand new really beautiful sleeves, they're really, really slippy.
They are. They actually are.
So when you try and pick up 80 Baratheon Tactics cards stacked together, it turns out that they all slip apart and they're all over the floor.
Well,
I'm probably going to run over them with my chair, which will actually make me really sad.
I've got 2 stacks of these. I've got literally 100 free folk cards here, which I'm going to have to sort out. Anyway, that arrived. That's cool. The other cool thing, which I actually think was such a good inclusion, for those of you that aren't aware, the objective cards, they give you a full set of, let me get this right, 10 objective cards and 24 secret missions. That's 2 full decks of the secret missions, meaning you only actually need 1 update pack to play any of the game modes. Which means
That's
that
actually
people,
really good.
Any game I play against anybody, secret missions, I'll have enough in here to play against them. Which is going to be
I didn't realize that actually myself. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Also, Carlo.
Random thing that, you know.
Scratch the coating to check the authenticity.
I described it to Mickey as scratch and sniff authenticity.
Sounds like my nail is really bad.
Is it gonna say, you know, It's a fake.
I don't know if to reveal this on camera. Is this a sensible thing to reveal on camera? Is this code gonna like lead to my bank details being shared anonymously throughout the way? I don't know. No, it's a code there. You get a fancy code. I'm assuming that product code there, if you type it in, will be some kind of like special thing where it goes, oh yeah, that is a real product.
Okay. For once, I'm going to be the optimist. For once, I'm nearly always the pessimist in the room. When I saw this, I was optimistic that it meant that if you got one of these things and it was defective in any way, you could just scratch that off and say, "Here's my official authentic product code. Can I have a replacement, please?" That was the optimist in me. The optimist in me thought, "Oh, that would work. That'd be good."
There's none on the Iron Maker box though.
There are.
The other
There's one
on here on this box.
There's one on my Thorn Guard.
Yep. So same. I've got one on my mag.
So I think quarter 3 releases onwards, all now have this little scratch the coating to check the authenticity. I don't know. I don't know why that's check the authenticity. Like,
know, right?
Like really, is it a lucky dip whether or not you got a real one or a fake one?
I know.
I got Thornwatch twice.
We're doing
plus,
this is actually just an unboxing video now, by the way, guys. In case you didn't know. So there's Mag the Mighty. Look at him there. Oh, look how mighty he looks. Wow. And there's Mag, upside down Mag.
Yeah.
Shall I turn up
first one was 1-1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The first one was 1-1. Yeah. There's Mag. Okay. Actually, what I need is a green background so you can't see him. That's my unboxing video for you. Now, you've seen these models before. I'm just showing that I've got them. I don't really know why I'm getting them out of the box. But they have arrived. It is proof of the pudding. I'm now going to jam these all back in together in this terribly designed box. So much wasted plastic in these things. Jesus. There we go. Done. What I wanted to show you was actually the Iron Maker sculpts, because these guys, if you haven't seen them, are actually pretty cool. Right, zoom in. So
he's a great Go player now.
Look at that terrible quality of camera. That's a beautiful.
The banner is nice.
The banner is actually really nice. Though. Not like you can actually see it very well. The banner detail on here is really good. This guy. This guy's wicked, by the way.
Giant bases are just solos.
Yeah.
Exactly the same as any other solo, James.
Yeah. This guy's wicked.
And to cool. Weasel, I'm kind of surprised that when you scratch it off, it didn't just say disappointment.
You lost.
You lose.
You lose. So yeah, they've all arrived. There's lots of cool stuff there. I'm super happy that I've got a faction pack. I can actually play with cards that are good. Tom's got the right idea.
I mean, I was aware of that, but I'm not 100. Don't necessarily know how this stops it, but okay. Yeah. I am. It is interesting. Just randomly appeared, and it seems to have started with Q3 releases. I wonder if they will backdate it in any way. I don't feel like they can backdate it in some ways, because basically then you make everything that's already been sold look like it's not official, which becomes a bit of a problem, maybe. But yeah, it was an interesting development. When I picked up the box, looked around it, I was like, what is that? So yeah, interesting that they're somewhat cracking down on the possible black market of their product.
I just realised this has actually got an age rating of 14+. Have you ever noticed that? What a weird age.
Adult parental guidance required.
Oh, wonder why 14. I don't know where the rules for 14 came in. Anyway, cool. So yeah, all of that's here. We've got access to it. Obviously, we've purchasing online. A lot of the online deliveries have come through, so people have got that stuff, which I'm sure you're all aware. But it was just interesting to show you in the flesh. Specifically, the faction cards. I got so many cards in my faction, like the unit card stuff, that I've just kind of like left in the box because I don't think I'm ever going to use them. But I am going to take them with me on the off chance that people need to see what my units do. So it's all going to come with me just in case for that reason.
On the same kind of topic, people have been asking when the units are going to be in Stats Builder. Hopefully soon. I don't have the assets. And more particularly, Stats Builder actually works off of unit codes which are given in War Council. So I'm actually sort of a bit hamstrung until War Council updates. That was probably a bit stupid now that I think about it, because War Council is always really, really slow to update. But I don't know, again, being optimistic, I kind of thought that War Council would update with when the units are released. I didn't think that, in the past, we've had spoilers. We've had almost like leaked product getting out into the world in some ways. And I've, in the very past, like long time ago, I put all of that on Stats Builder, and it had a not released kind of tag to it. But when we moved into 2021, I got rid of that, decided that we were only going to go with it was going to mirror what is officially released. But I guess it's being a bit of a problem right now because everybody believes that these are officially released.
Yes.
I mean, they are officially released. It's got an official product stamp on. Like, how is this not officially released? It is definitely officially released, but they're not in War Council. So when's War Council going to update? Yeah, Daniel, absolutely
answer.
The right question. When are they updating War Council?
Yeah. And this is the impossible question that we're always constantly facing, not on just behalf of the Stats Builder, right, but also on behalf of Tourney tournaments. And it's one of the things that we talk about in terms of, like, do you ban units or not? The eternal issue that we've got is that we can't possibly talk about, like, someone said, oh, why aren't you allowing the release stuff and things like that. So I know we talked about it earlier in the LGT. But, like, you can't possibly release stuff that's not been allowed in the UK. And when do you stop? I've got MAG because I got it shipped to the UK early. Does that mean I'm allowed to run MAG because I got it shipped to the UK early? And some people in the UK simply won't have access to that. What about the fact that my store that I shipped from ran out of frozen chariots, and someone else is going to rock up with 8 frozen chariots? I know that that's down to ultimately, did you buy them or not? But when the option to buy them locally isn't there, and it's not even it's like literally you haven't even had a whiff of the product. You find out about its release after the release, and it's too late to buy. That's not fair. It's not equal. It's not a level playing field by any stretch. And then you're literally making a pay-to-win system, which war games already into some element are, but not enough to warrant that level of pay-to-win.
Basically, War Council should be the perfect platform by which you define what is released and what's not. But they don't keep it timely enough, and they don't use it in that way. It actually lags way, way behind what is generally considered released.
Or
lags way behind actual official release dates themselves. People in America have long been able to get units officially through Asmodee way before they come onto War Council. So that could basically have been the defining feature of what is officially released or not, but they're not using it in that way. And so it makes things hard. It becomes everybody has to make their own choices about what they and their group and their tournaments and their whatever are using.
I think Mikkel's got it right there, Carlo. It's really hard to introduce 5 new units into War Council.
I mean, saying that, I got told not so long ago, somebody came to me and said, Stats Builder's wrong. I was like, oh, it's not impossible. Sorry, what's the rule? And they were like, when you have Danny, 5-point unburn NCU, all the dragons should be 1 less point. Look, shows you here in War Council. And I was like, no. Read the card. War Council is wrong. I mean, literally read Danny's card. That's wrong. So yeah, I mean, like, war council isn't even correct. So let's not worry about how long it takes them to add 5 new things.
I know, right? It's always sad, isn't it? So, I thought we'd also we've also got some other bits to talk about. There are, of course, other events coming up, which we'll very quickly run through. Some of the other events I believe that are coming up on the stats site. So we have got, and I went through all of these last week, of course. I'll give a shout out to some of the events that did finish as well. There was the event. Let's have a look. The only one that's finished since last week was the Indie event, the replacement for Gen Con, which Brett, we spoke to Brett about this. It had 6 players turn up in the end, and was won by John Hurley, a start player who often goes to the events there as well, local player. Yeah, great. I mean, 6-player event. And it's good to see that people are rebuilding communities and getting games. But I think a lot of people who went to Gen Con expected the event at Gen Con rather than Family Time Games itself, and so it lost a lot of potential players because of that.
Interestingly, while I was away, that is not the first tournament that a Stark has won.
No.
There was one in Poland, right?
Yeah. We talked about it. The second Warband
Yeah,
tournament.
and I know you talked about it. This event had Night's Watch bans, right?
Yeah.
And had a Stark winner. The Gen Con celebration event wasn't as big, but it didn't actually have any bans. It was open entry to Night's Watch, and it was won by Starks. So it's not an insignificant achievement. It is one of very few, like literally countable on one hand, I would say, tournaments that have been won by not Night's Watch, when Night's Watch aren't being banned or restricted in some kind of way.
Yeah, maybe, so I'd have to count them all.
You'd have to go. Honestly, I think there are about 3 events that have ever been won not by Night's Watch, where Night's Watch have entered and haven't been banned, such as Othel bans, John bans, Watch Captain bans, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? We've still got a lot of our running events going on. There's no new events started up, except of course the ELO event that started kind of like last week. Basically, it kicked off. That was it's got 60 players, doing really well with the players it's got, and there's been a couple of discussions about what this means and things like that. But basically, people thinking the TPs are wrong. They're not. They are calculated correctly. Me and Carlo at various points have even checked them to make sure they're calculated correctly. They are. They are calculated completely correctly.
A strong showing from the French at the top there.
Beating a Night's Watch player round 1, so it makes a difference.
But I mean, 1, 2, and 3. Griffin's played 2 games. That's what puts him up into second place. But 1, 2, and 3 currently. Brathy and Stark. Not too surprising that you're talking about factions towards the bottom end of the ratings. I will be watching this tournament with a lot of interest. It is it's the biggest ELO that's happened. The system is effectively still it's not untested, but it's still may undergo some changes. Let's put it that way, right? It's not impossible that it has some problems.
Yeah.
I'll be watching carefully whether or not the person who just got the big win in the first round against Night's Watch, if he goes on and wins the event and nobody ever gets close to him, then maybe there is a problem with like it's too dependent on your first round pairing. Because don't forget, most people will now be paired against people who have similar TPs to them, which means that they'll probably be paired against people who have similar ELO rated commanders to them ish. Like that's actually kind of complicated, but it's not impossible. Lots of people will score closer to 3 points a round from now on. Don't forget though, if he does win the event, I believe it was
Alric.
Who was that?
Alric was his name.
Alric.
Yeah.
If he does win the event, he will have won 3 games. He will have done it with a very low rated faction. And not only that, but he will have beaten a top rated faction. Considering that is all you could possibly achieve in this event, I don't think it's wrong that he would win the event. right? If there were more rounds, he has to continue winning. We could talk about whether or not the TPs are right or wrong. But as a tiebreaker, the fact that he is using low-rated stuff and has beaten somebody with high-rated stuff is, I think, the whole point of the event. It has achieved its point in most ways in that it caused a shift towards the bottom end. I'm actually glad that I don't think that the tournament is just going to be won by the bottom-rated commanders, which I do believe, or not. It's not only winnable by the bottom rated commanders, which is possibly true that was true in 1.6 because of how far apart some of the commander ratings were.
Yeah.
I think that it's a far better reflection of just like who played the best in the tournament. But it's achieved many of the things that it wants to achieve. It's achieved a much better variety of lists, and I think people are and will enjoy it for that fact.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I played in it. Believe it or not, in my second round, I managed to match up against Van Van. So I'm sure we're going to find time to try and fit it in around schedules and things. So yeah, cool. Events coming up then. It's all the things we've talked about before. Really, there's nothing really that's popped up that's particularly new outside of one event that I want to give a bit of a shout out to. So. We've got a Polish tournament happening this weekend as well. We've got the Grand Tournament, obviously. We've got the Warsaw ELO Elite with Blackjack and Hookers with just a small event. And I just want to go over this. This is a small event run by Peter Sikovec and a couple of the other guys. They're trying to get 4 players. They're just going to run a little like daily ELO event, but I just thought the name, you got to give them kudos for that, right? So that's running.
The Polish scene seems to be going really, really strong right now. It's really good to see.
The Fabricators Forge event, the second one that they're doing, the Cerberus event, is going ahead this weekend as well. So that's going to be on Saturday. Then on Saturday and Sunday, you've got the Spanish playoffs, which Mikel will no doubt be going down to and trying to win the Spanish playoffs. So that's brilliant. That's awesome. There's another Polish tournament on the Sunday as well. And there's another Russian tournament on the Sunday. And then starting on Sunday, there's a Croatian league. Brilliant.
There is so much stuff going on right now. Like I was saying, like we talked about, the LGT is probably the premier event happening this weekend. But there are so many events happening around the world right now. It's really, really good time for the site, really, really good time for the game in those regards. I believe, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, this Spanish national tournament is the final culmination of the almost year-long regional Spanish event. This is what it's all been building towards. I assume I believe it was supposed to finish, much earlier in the year, but presumably had some delays. There you go. The final is on the 25th and 26th of September in Madrid. 30 of 32 players entered on stats. Absolutely brilliant. Hopefully that means that it will all go fine and run through the site on the day. I'm really, really looking forward to it. This has been a huge undertaking by these guys. And actually, I've just been so impressed at how they managed to get their whole community involved. I actually spent a lot of my time while I was away thinking about what can be done for the UK scene. I don't want there to just, like the LGT to be it, right? And I think that if we can get some kind of regional qualification into a big event, the LGT can be a part of that. It can be one of the big qualifiers for what is actually a genuine, real nationals. That means that it could be 20, 32 players, but every player has fought their way to get there. Every one of those has earned qualification. You're effectively playing in a tournament which is 1 to 200 players large because it is the final pinnacle of 10 plus events. And I think that that's an amazing format. That is what organized play is. That is why I built A Song of Ice and Fire Stats, to hopefully allow that format. And I mean, like, organized play. That is what organized play is when organized play is done right, in my mind. It's a whole aside. I won't go into it today, but one week people should remind me that to talk about Flesh and Blood. A lot of time while I was away, I was looking into the new trading card game, Flesh and Blood, getting quite interested in that. There's a whole topic to discuss on it, and like things that are good about the game. I've never played a game, but interesting about the game, interesting about their organized play structure, how they're growing their game through that things, and they're all the things that I was looking at, getting interested in, and especially when I decided that I needed to get off Discord, I needed something else to do, and I was watching a lot of videos around Flesh and Blood, and I think that's they have that road to nationals structure. It really legitimizes any store who wants to run an event. They just apply and say, we're running a 10-player event, and they're like, cool, you get one qualifying spot for this national event. And that really builds a structure that people understand what they're getting involved in and really brings value to every game. And that's what Stats is about. It's about bringing value and meaning to the games that you play at your local club, to every small tournament that you enter. They're all part of a bigger ecosystem.
Definitely. Yeah. So, I wanted to obviously, we'll talk about some other bits and bobs, but I also wanted to give a shout out to the guys at Tabletop Warden, who are running a community tournament starting next Tuesday. Sign up today, of course. So only 16 players, no bans or anything, I don't think. I don't believe. I'd have to double check. Yeah, no restrictions.
Wow, is that next Tuesday? Because they're hoping that Q3 stuff will be in. I'll have a look.
Busy Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a tournament event there that you can go sign up to, run by the Tabletop Warden guys, and everything else that's due to come up on the site we've talked about before. More Polish tournaments, more tournaments in the UK, tournaments in Genoa, the Pan-Oceano Championship I talked to last week about with Def, TTS event there. So go and check them all out. Carlo, it's time this week to do the unfathomable. It's time for some miniature rating competition. Are you ready?
Ooh. I managed to. I was only on for like a couple of moments, right? Like it was actually about to have dinner, but I managed to get on and give my rating the other week.
See. It was a strong 0.
Yeah.
What do you think of this unit here?
Well, that's a 0.
I'm going to give it a 2, like the tartan. Maybe a 3 at a push.
Big.
So these two units here together.
I've seen these units in the flesh. They are really nice. The amount of conversions I've never seen on another Song of Ice and Fire army. They're subtle. They're small. You can't even see them until you get up close to the miniatures. Everyone's unique. This is, of course, our friend Dan's Stark army.
So he sent them in to get them rated. So
it's impressive to behold, actually. I mean, it's still a 0, but it's impressive to behold.
Is it a 0 because
really
too much
to
conversion?
Play against it.
Is it 0 for too much? Tried too hard? Not good enough?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit try hard. Like, come on, why convert every model?
Yeah.
But no pressure, Mickey, or anything like that. But it's really nice to play against army like this.
What was well painted and based? Mine's nearly done, mate. Finally, one more unit. I'm gonna second guess you, Carlo. I'm gonna do your vote here for you. I'm gonna give this on Carlo's behalf a 0. Yeah. Oh, another 0 there. So are these cool minis or not? I think the answer is they are not cool. Gotta be sad about that, haven't you? Just a disappointment, really. I
am super looking forward to seeing people's armies at the LGT. I really.
So am I.
I do love seeing painted armies. I've talked about it loads. 0 because I lost to it. Bit close to the bone. bit. Somebody's trying a bit hard with this splash with that water feature.
I know,
That's
right?
a 0.
Just a 0? Yeah.
Why is everybody trying hard these days? Like everybody's out here to impress Duncan.
I know, right? I'm glad that I've literally just got a message from Douglas saying you should rate these. They're in the LGT chat. I was going to do it anyway, Douglas. I already had them loaded up. So there's that one there, and from the side to see if you want a slightly better angle there, Carlo. 0.
People trying to impress Duncan, or are they trying to impress me and get a 1 out of 10? Is that what they're looking for?
I think they are.
That's the real question.
I'm too easy at giving 4s and 5s. That's where I sit. I'm clearly not onto this Simon, Cool Mini or not malarkey, right? I'd be tempted to give that a 1. You're not tempted to give this guy a 1, Douglas?
Nah. This is 0. Come on.
I'll give it a 4. My rating's a 4. That's not. Doesn't mean anything, of course. I've got low standards. Right. Cool. Well, Carlo. It's going to be an interesting time. Obviously, LGT we'll be talking about a lot. We'll probably be doing a lot of posts. I probably will try to do some stuff during the day, but of course, we're playing a lot of games, so I'll be pretty busy. Who do you think's going to win? Will it be? Here's a loaded question. Will it be the highest rated stats player at the event, or will it be somebody else?
We didn't talk about it loads, but this was almost such a high, like, a Song of Ice and Fire stats entry. Mm-hmm. Jasper never realistically was going to be at the event, but did want to come. But like the travel restrictions, he did inquire about it. The travel restrictions have always been against Italy being able to make it to the UK. But Masara, until very recently, was going to be there. And LM A Song of Ice and Fire, that's his name, right? Yeah. LM A Song of Ice and Fire just in the last few days has had to not make it because of the new Dutch restrictions. But, between Masara, Masarath, LM A Song of Ice and Fire, it was a who's who of high-rated players in Europe at one point.
Odwis was going to come down as well.
If I had to bet, I would bet on Kolko.
Ooh, Kolko. Try and find him in the list. He's relatively high up because he's won events. Sure.
He's not that high. There he is.
1582.
That's because all he's ever recorded is the one tournament that he won.
He did some stats right stuff. He recorded some stuff with stats, I think, earlier on, like the TSL or something, maybe. So I can't remember.
I mean, he has a high win rate. He just doesn't have a big record. Games. He's also very, as of the way stats works and is doing the correct thing, he's very deflated because he uses a lot of high-rated stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so the site is like, that's not impressive. It's awful. He is reliably, repeatedly doing well on the UK scene. I'm going to back the UK scene. There are some brilliant players coming from Europe, but I have to say that Brit's going to win. And I'm going to go with Kolko.
Okay. Fair. Absolutely fair. I say I'm disappointed that we haven't got people like Flixie and Joran, the likes of the Dutch contingent and things like that coming over. Having played the likes of LM, Song of Ice and Fire, having spoken to Jasper a little bit, played against Masara plenty of times. It's a real shame that they're not going to make it over. But yeah, I do think it's going to be an interesting event. Obviously, I'm going to really enjoy it, and we'll obviously be able to update you guys as it goes on. Cool. Carlo, I think that takes us to just after 9 o'clock in a traditional format. It's nearly time to sign off, but before we do, just to get it off your chest, 2 NCUs or 3?
4.
4 NCUs. Run 4 NCUs. That is a discussion for another day.
How many NCUs you run?
That is a discussion for another
activation.
Day.
Run more activations. Whatever you do, just run more activations.
More activations better than 2 versus 3 NCUs.
It is interesting. We should discuss it at one point.
We will.
Basically, every single faction in the game is better the more activations you run, except for Targaryens. Targaryens are the only faction whose best win rate isn't its highest like passable activation count. So that means for most factions that's like, or like for the good factions that's a 9, 40 points. But for some their best is 8 because they're only really viable at 6, 7, and 8. They technically can make a 9 activation list, but you're talking about such absolute dross. The same with the 9 activation list. You can technically run a 10, but people don't. Hylo's right that the TARG's data is skewed by MOD. I believe that it's still true when you take MOD out. And effectively, the long and short of my opinion of it is that they account for activation control by having cavalry maneuvers. So cavalry maneuvers allows you to get out of the position where you're out positioned by the out activation. And it also allows you to control spacing so much better. So your opponent is having to use their extra activations just to track you down. But hey, it's a whole different discussion. Maybe when we finally get the commander data sorted out, we'll be able to look at whether or not MOD is the thing that's truly driving 7 activations or not to be the best thing for Targaryens. But if you click that button there, which Mickey just clicked, and when that graph pops up, if you go to any faction, what you'll see like a 40% win rate with this, 50% with this, and 60% with its highest activation count. That will be 6, 7, and 8 activations, or 7, 8, and 9, depending on what faction you are and how like high its general activation count is. But without a doubt, if you're not Targaryens, more is better. Free folk are a little bit messy, but you know.
Well, as it turns out, we found out the other day that I make up a significant portion of the free folk data.
You do.
It's actually kind of crazy.
There'll be a load at the LGT, so you know that'll be a load of new data for it. That'll be good stuff.
Just on that note, before we do go, Targaryens have been in absolute freefall. Notice that?
Yes.
Night's Watch have not.
I don't know why.
Lannisters are coming back up. The hell? That's from points they've taken off Targaryens. Free folk are dropping down. And then Baratheons are at minus 30.
Yeah, I don't know what Targaryens are losing in. Because then there's hardly any Targaryens in the Sunday Slaughter ELO event, right?
Yeah, there's like one, I think, 1 or 2.
So they're losing somewhere.
Yeah. Oh. 2-0 resign from Griffin against WOP, and I'm gonna guess that is Gregor doing an overrun and killing like Drogon and Khal Drogo in like round 1. Sag face. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there for this week. We won't gonna look at the meta. We'll look at what shakes up at the tournament at the weekend. We'll see how it all goes out. Carlo, for the final time, good luck as a TO. Good luck in the ELO event at the LGT.
Thank you. Yeah, good luck to yourself, Mickey, playing in the event. Good luck to all the entrants. Yeah. Hope everybody makes it. Good luck making it to the event. Anybody who's traveling any significant distance. I hope everything goes well for you travel-wise. I do recommend that anybody who can, it's a very big venue with a lot of people. I do recommend that anybody who can wears a face covering. It's not legal. It's not mandatory in the UK right now. But, you know, there are over 1,000 people in this venue. So for your own benefit and the benefit of the people that you're playing with and against, I do recommend it.
Your choice ultimately in the end, though, of course.
Be safe. I hope to see everybody there. Good luck getting there. Good luck on the day. And it'll be a great time. Come and say hello. As Tom Bell has said, I'm not as bad in person as as you think I might be. I've even been known to be nice to some people. I'm not going to tell you I'm a great guy or anything, like, you know, but I'm not an absolute, you know, not an absolute twat.
And yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone at the weekend. Best of luck to everybody. I'll see you all at the ELO event, or most of you there, and then of course on the main event on Saturday. I hope you all have a great week this week. I hope you all have a great weekend in the various tournaments that you may be seeing over the various different parts of the world in which you live. And for the final time before the LGT, see you next week. Ready, aim, release! Anyone see my mammoth?